Welcome to Rant Time. And it's Wednesday, the 15th day of February 2023. Well, the Reserve Bank says that they are really sorry that everybody's going through this big problem. And Mr. Philip Lowe says he's doing his best, but he wants to keep the situation uh, going like this until such time he can uh, correct inflation. Well, it's very, very hard, Mr. Lowe. And I think that you're not being fair. You know, a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are living in the street, can't get housing, they can't afford the rents. What is wrong with the Reserve Bank? It's the Reserve Bank's problem. You know, it's just they are causing this problem. It's not the federal government or the treasurer. It's the Reserve Bank causing problems, and they are not thinking of the people of Australia. Time and time and time again, I've been saying the Reserve Bank is wrong. They should just lower the interest rates as much as possible and allow people to be able to get accommodation. And in fact, it'd be a good idea if the Reserve Bank paid for everybody's accommodation. That should be their policy. The Reserve Bank is there to serve the people of Australia, not to rip them off. What's wrong with you, Mr. Lowe? It's time you change your attitude. Too many people are living in poverty. Why are people sleeping in cars? I guarantee you're not sleeping in your car, Mr. Lowe. You're not sleeping in the street. You've got a nice, comfortable bed to sleep in every night. Oh, yes, you certainly would have. You and your friend John Howard and Peter Dutton and Barnaby Joyce. Oh, yes, you all live in luxury. But you don't do anything to help anybody else. Mr. Howard, when he was in power, didn't do anything to look after the poor. It's about time that the people who are really high money are made to pay their fair share of tax. Perhaps like Robin Bishop. She gets $490,000 a year. That's a lot of money for doing nothing. $490,000 a year. She also works on Sky Channel, and she gets paid for that. Oh, that's disastrous. These are the type of people just turn a blind eye for people living in the street. They say, well, we have people like Alan Jones coming along and saying he looks after Struggle Street. I don't know about that. I wouldn't know he's doing anything for the people of Australia either. All people who are earning big sums of money are living in comfort, and the poor people are struggling. I know it's Mr. Lowe's problem with the Reserve Bank. The people like Mr. Howard and Bronwyn Bishop and Peter Dutton and all the Liberals are the ones that have caused these problems in the first place. Mr. Howard, with his policy of privatising Australian National Railways, was one of the big things he did with his girlfriend. Yes, Mr. Howard and his girlfriend from South Australia at the time who destroyed the Australian National Railways. And now we have a train that runs between Sydney, Adelaide and Perth. It's for privileged Americans to come there who've got plenty of money, and they travel on this train. But when that train was built to run from Sydney to Perth, and at one stage it ran 4 days a week. Now it only runs once a week, and it's only millionaires who can travel on it. Where's the fairness in that? Once a week from Sydney at 2 o'clock out of Sydney, and then they have to split it. Dear oh dear. So the problem is all these things that have occurred have all occurred under Liberal governments. Yes. And of course we've had, but Mr. Lowe, the Reserve Bank governor, thank goodness he's going at the end of September. And then it's someone new who'll think positive and look after people. That's the type of person we want in the Reserve Bank. And to provide assistance to people, not just let people sleep in the streets, begging. This is not the 1930s. The current government is doing its best. It can't do any more. I just don't understand why people are being very critical of this government. They've been left with a whole lot of problems, and they're expected to clean it all up. That's not fair. The Liberals made a mess. They provided the robo-debt. Millions of people were billed by the Social Security Department saying they owed money, and they didn't owe any money at all. It was just someone who was trying to say, well, we'll get rid of. I think it was, they were trying to say that we don't need these people. Let's get rid of them. They're all oldies anyway. We'll give them this robo-debt, and they'll commit suicide. That's a way of getting rid of them. Yes, I know. Perhaps I'm saying things out of turn, but I'm just upset about the way things are in this country, Australia, and it's about time that the people who are causing these problems are asked to explain, not the present government. The government, the court of inquiry will come up soon. I hope a whole lot of them who have been causing all these problems are made to pay for it. It is time. Something has to be done. People can't be sleeping in the streets, sleeping in their cars, etc. Accommodation should be available to anyone. There should not be a case that people cannot find a place to sleep at night, or when they have to. If they have to sleep during the day, of course they might be shift workers. Well, of course, naturally, they can't even get accommodation. They may be doing that. They may be having to sleep in premises or sleep in the street for the fact that they work at night, but they've got the money, but they can't afford it. Some of these landlords want to charge the earth. They're the greedy people. Some of these people, and where greed gets the better of them, they want to pass it on to everybody else. They want their money, but of course, the situation is now being that people cannot afford it. Soon they'll be attacking other people, and instead of being able to walk the streets in safety, we may be having to just stay at home. Well, I'm completely worried about this. I hope someone can solve the problem. It may happen. It may happen in the next 10 months. Well, I hope so, and we'll be living happily. But of course, we have to wait for the May budget, and that's coming up in May, and see what happens there. But I still think that Mr. Lowe You're the one causing these problems. It's time you got out. That's our little talk for today. We'll catch you again soon.